Good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Table Enabled. We're doing Shulchan Aruch Yomi today. I'll be doing a lot of Shirim today, but right now we're doing Shulchan Aruch Yomi. Simon Kuf Sadi Zayin and Orachai 197. Four halachas, Din Siruf, Luzimun, Shlosha, Asara, joining together. Does every one of the three people or 10 people have to be eating bread or not? That's the main point under discussion in this Simon. Aleph, Shnaim Shachlu Ke'echad, two people ate together. Vigamru, they finished eating. Ubash Lishi, a third person, their friend came to discuss politics with them. If the people, the two people that ate already, they still have room for more, meaning they're not completely satiated. The third person could potentially join with them. This language comes from the Rashba, Shuas Rashba. They have to give him food. We'll discuss what food in order that he can be part of the zimun. Now, Mishnah Berurah notes it's not a chiyuv. You don't have to do a zimun. It's a nice thing to do. So if the person is willing to eat something, you give him some food. We'll discuss if you have to give him bread or something else in a second. It has to be this person came to join you before you said to your friend, come, let's bench. You said to your friend, let's bench. Then the third person came. He can no longer join with you. Washing your hands by machornim is basically the same thing as saying that you want a bench, and he can no longer join with you. You can no longer make a zimun. Beis tisha sha'achlu dagon. 9 people ate bread together. One person ate a kazayas of a vegetable, right? But starving lahatzker Hashem, you can join him for 10 people to part of a zimun. I feel a lot tibel imoim ela b'tzira lo shas imoim ela kos echa sheish bo revius. Mikol mashke chutz min amayim. It doesn't have to be even that he ate a kazayas of a vegetable, even like half a kazayas of a vegetable and a half a kazayas of dressing on it, right? Which would combine a kazayas, or he even drank something. He drank something as a revius, as long as it's not water. Water is not considered something chashav enough because water doesn't satiate you. Mitzdarif yimoim. You can join together. The person who leads benching, he has to be one of the people that ate bread. Most posts can hold even 7 people ate bread, and 3 people ate vegetables or anything or drank, apple juice. Mitzdarfin, aval shisha lo the ruba de minkar, but it has to be 7 out of 10, not 6 out of 10. 6 is rove. You need a ruba de minkar, and why do you need a ruba de minkar? This is proven in the Gemara and written expressly by the Rishonim, because I've explained many times that in halacha, right, just like you go when you're in grade school, 65% is passing, right? It's the same thing in halacha. 65% is passing, and 70% is considered better than 65. What if you have, right? It's not possible that 6.5 people out of 10. So here we're talking about 7 out of 10. So 7 out of 10 is good enough to be considered a strong rove, right? A strong rove is considered a level of proof, not proof, but some level of assumption in the Torah that you can rely on in certain instances. But 60%, even though it's a rove, right, in a lot of instances, it's not considered sufficient enough to warrant deciding a halacha. And here it's deciding when to do zivin. Even though, let's say there's 7 people or 9 people, right? They ate bread and one person eats a vegetable. He has to make a bar nefashos. He's not yosei with the berachas hamazon of his friends. When do we say that you could eat anything? Let's start with shlosha. Only when you're joining to make a group of 10. Aval However, if you have 2 people, they all have to eat 2 people and eating bread, and one person eating a vegetable. A vegetable is not good enough. You need 3 people to eat bread. This is the first opinion, the opinion of the Rambam. The Yeshomrim, the Rif and the Rashba say, the V'gazayas dagan mahani afilu pas. Afilu eno pas. As long as you had, even if it's something made out of wheat, right, or maybe barley, farina, or let's say, or you had, rugalach or something like that. So that's a gazayas of that. That's considered good enough. But you don't have to have bread. Some say just exactly like 10 people, 3 people also. If the third person, right, has a vegetable, it helps. Hilkach, right? Shnayim sha'achlu ba shlishim yichol laskiko sheyachal kazayis pas mutav. If you want it, right, the best thing to do is to fill all the shitas and to get them to eat bread, right? So you have 3 people eating bread, for sure you can make a zimum. You shouldn't give him anything because you're entering into a savik. If you give him some apple juice to drink, or even if you give him some rugalach to eat, it's not clear according to all the poskim whether you're allowed to do a zimun. So it's better to remove yourself from safek and not give him anything, and don't make a zimun. If they gave him something, even if they gave him apple juice or something like that, and he drank a revius of apple juice, technically we paskin. Bottom line is we rely on the last shita, which is the opinion of Tosus and the Rosh Rabbeinu Yonah, which is more the Ashkenazi poskim that lived in Western Europe, right? Everyone thinks Eastern Europe is Eastern Europe. No, the real Ashkenazim is from German Jews. That's the real halacha. We accept Ashkenazim. Ashkenazim is most of Jews nowadays come from, are followed Nusach Ashkenaz. I always say that, one day when Mashiach comes, we're going to have to get rid of the different nuschos. Everyone has their different, way of doing things in Judaism, different minhagim. You have some Svardim, you have Teimanim, you have Chasidim, you have Datilumi, whatever, Ashkenazis, whatever, Sephardi. So I mentioned Sephardi a couple times. The point is that most of the Jews are Ashkenazim, traced it back to Ashkenazim. Ashkenaz is Germany, France, Germany, that's where Rashi came from, France. Germany is a lot of the Rishonim, the Rosh, I think, was from Germany. His son, Rabbeinu Yaakov, right, was a Tor, Yaakov ben Asher, Tor. He also from Germany. So Aram Rutzenberg was from Germany. A lot of the Balitos was from France. So France and Germany, basically, the king of the world from France, like the Eiffel Tower. No, so France, I said, is Eitan's Gan Eden, right? Yeah, Mikedem Gan Eden, right? You have Eden. Eden is in Arabia, right? And the bottom of Yemen, there's a city called Aden. It's called the Gulf of Aden over there. So that's Mikedem. Mikedem, that's the eastern Aden. The western Aden is the Gan. The Gan is where they have the vineyards, right? France. Gan is in France. So we follow Minhag Ashkenaz, and therefore anything which technically you like a vegetable or apple juice, they could join together. And Mishra knows that it's not just b'di'evet. Even the chachila we happen to follow the Iker Shita is that 2 out of 3 is good enough. Even a little bit for the third person is good enough, which makes sense what I said before, because again, you have 66.7%, which is better than 65%. So it's the same thing as 70%. Dalit chaverim she'achlu ke'echad. People ate together. Ksasam achlu k'dei svia. Ksasam la'achlu al kazayas. Some people ate, and they all ate bread, but some of them they're completely satisfied. Some only ate kazayas, right? We mentioned, according to most poskim, that's what the Gemara in Brachos Nafchav says. Even if you eat a kazayas or kabetzi, you're chayav berkas hamazon. Im kulam yodim levarich, if they all know how to make a bracha, mitzvah sheyivarach also she'achal k'dei svia b'yotzi hacherim. It's a mitzvah that the person who ate k'dei svia, he's chayav daraisa. Kazayas is only chayav, or kabetzi only chayav darabanan. They don't all know how to make the bracha. They don't have a bencher in front of them. Even though it was chayiv derabanan, can also be the one who's chayiv deraisa. And now, normally, if you remember some of the other shurim, we said that someone who's derabanan can be moti someone who's chayiv deraisa. That's first. For example, a woman who might not be chayiv, a katan shegil chinuch, who's chayiv derabanan, can't be moti his father who ate kedei svia, who's chayiv deraisa, only if he didn't eat kedei svia. So, but here it's different, because here a man who's over bar mitzvah is considered mechuyev in Birkas Hamazon. So it's like yatsa motzi. It's like, let's say, if you're yotzi mitzvah of shofar, you can blow shofar for someone else, because kol yishal ravim zel is that you have the same type of chiyuv as in Birkas Hamazon. You're both men. You have the same type of chiyuvim. I could be motzi you. So technically, midrabanan, they said you shouldn't lead the zimun unless you're the one who ate kedei svia. But technically, as long as you get a kazayas, you could lead Zimun and you can emotzi him in benching, because kol yishal ravim zel. That's what the poskim say. And Mishnah Berurah notes actually machlokas whether the Rabbanan can moti the Daraisa only in Zimun or even in Berkas Hamazon. We happen to basket even Berkas Hamazon he could. Hagav Yesh Omrim she'eno chayiv levarach midaraisa im lo shasav hu tayiv lishos. So Rambam brings an interesting shita. This is one of the Rishonim, the Re'em Mimitz, which I think is a city in Germany. Relezer Mimitz. He says, if you didn't drink, if you're thirsty at the end of the meal, and you're very thirsty, right? So you're not completely satiated, even though in terms of eating more, you don't want to eat anymore, but you're thirsty. So you're not chayiv midaraisa until you drink. And based on the reasoning we just said, so if some people, everyone ate to be completely satiated. However, some people didn't drink. So therefore, the people that didn't drink, they're not chayiv midaraisa, only chayiv midarabanan. The people that drank are chayiv midaraisa. So we said really the daraisa should be motzi darabanan. Again, if he doesn't know how to bench, then the rabbanan can motzi daraisa. But it's technically Kol Yisrael Revim Zelazeh. That's the end of today's shir. I want to talk about this Ramah and Ian to lean on and go back to a chiddush I said before about the Gemara in Brachos, that the Gemara says that midrabanan you're chayiv in benching even if you kizayis kibetza. It's hard to understand because the Torah says v'achalta v'savata v'rachta. Before benching v'achalta you eat v'savata. V'savata, it's not optional. You have to be satiated if you want to bench. So if you eat a kizayis of food, usually not satiated, how could you be chayiv to bench? And based on that explanation, I will explain over here, whether someone who ate a kazayas could be motzi someone d'oraisa. I don't think someone who ate a kazayas really could be motzi someone who ate kidei svia, because I believe someone who eats kazayas is not really chayiv in Birkas Hamazon. And even if he was chayiv in Birkas Hamazon, midrabanan, if there's such a thing, I still don't think it's comparable to a case of Kol Yishal Arev Zelazeh, where the Gemara says Yatza Motzi. Someone is Yotzei in the mitzvah of shofar, can motzi someone else, even though he was Yotzei. I'll explain the difference between Birkas Hamazon and the mitzvah of shofar, and Ian to lean on coming up next.